Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Simracersworld TV, and welcome to another wonderful round of the Porsche Club GB Sim Racing Championship here from Suzuka in Japan. This legendary circuit on the Formula One calendars will certainly provide a very big challenge for these drivers tonight. My name is Chaz Draycott. Once again alongside me, and for the second evening in a row, is Peter MacKay. Peter, how are we, mate?
I'm very well. I feel sorry for you though, having to put up with me 2 nights in a row. But I shall try and keep the nonsense to a minimum. I'll try. I can't promise anything. But yes, very much looking forward to this. This one of my favourite circuits in the world, actually, and home to my favourite race in the world. I think the greatest race in the world, the Suzuka 8-hour motorcycle race. But we've got 4 wheels instead of 2, so 2 for the price of 1. And being a Scotsman, I like that kind of deal.
Sounds good indeed, doesn't it? So, into this one, we have a very enticing championship at the minute. We have Ryan Parkins top there. You can see 218 points from Matt Dorrington's 181. He is 40 points clear of Patrick Charlton, who in his debut season is doing a great job of being right up there with the rest of them. 134 points for Paul Rieger in 4th. Dan Bathy 5th, ahead of Johnny Elia. He's having a good season so far. We then have Carl Sharkey, car 77, P7 of course. Mark Phillips behind him, then the other Mark, Baxter Jones, and James Cummings rounds out the top 10. An interesting one there for me, to be honest, in this one, Peter, is Gavin Hall's down in 12th position, but we know just how much bad luck Gavin has.
Absolutely, yeah. They don't call him full send Gav for nothing. Yeah, we need to get some night races, because you wouldn't believe how fast Gavin Halls is in the dark. That's why they call him the Vampire. That's how he got the nickname, the Vampire, you see.
I didn't even know that was his nickname, but
yeah, that was a Porsche Sport Carrera Cup nickname, where he just one race it got dark and he just came alive.
Fair play. Well, we'll have to keep an eye on him and poke Mark for some night races in future. This is your current championship leader and reigning champion, Ryan Parkins, who's just decided to pull over. Patrick Charlton now takes the reins at being on screen. As I said then, Patrick's having a really good first season in this championship. He's only 0.02 of a second ahead of Paul Rieger, but look at that. The whole field, half a second off Ryan Parkins at the moment. But back to Patrick. He's really shown his worth here, but he's got a good pedigree behind him, hasn't he?
Absolutely. He has rubbed body panels with mid-90s heartthrob Shane Lynch of Boyzone fame on the racetrack, I should add, in the Lotus Elise Sport Cup, and raced against Tiffany Dell as well. So he's got some credentials, has Patrick. Although he did upset me the other day, Chaz, because he was bad-mouthing the great Lotus factory here in the United Kingdom, and I don't know what he was on about, commenting on something about poor build quality. I don't know quite what he was on about.
Well, let's hope there's not any poor build quality going on at Blinds to Go as we look at Byron Crawford here.
Definitely not.
No, definitely not.
Made like an Omologato watch.
Yes, just like this one that we can see here, adorning Oliver Carwadine's car. Lovely livery, that is. Absolutely massive fan of that. Something quite sweet about it, isn't there, really?
Oh, here we go. Yes, this is one of my favorite. Danny Jones. And I tell you what, no matter how many times Danny Jones crashes, that bear has always got a smile on his face. You can never get him down.
No,
he's like, it's okay, Danny. Don't worry, I'll get you out the barriers again. I'll give you a pick you up.
Well, I picked me up like a Jaeger bomb.
Yeah.
Which, of course, on Ryan Penny's car, which is always a nice bright colour scheme. I like the fact that the roll cage and the entire interior of the car is orange as well. Of course, gold wheels too. That is a humongous tick for us. Really big fan of that. They must have been expensive. I hope he's got them on finance.
PCP.
I'll have to stop.
The never.
I'll have to stop. I'm sorry, everybody.
Because I've got a lump in my throat. That was here.
Yes, it was. That was Damon Hill, wasn't it, winning the championship in 96?
Yes, 96.
I was actually driving that car on a different sim today, the 1996 Williams, and it's just an odd machine because they didn't rev as high as some of the later V10s in Formula 1, so you don't expect it to suddenly run out of revs, and it wheel spins at really low revs as well. It's odd. But so do these things. These things wheel spin like an absolute mother sometimes. when you just have that tiny bit of broken traction mid-corner. They certainly float around. I think that's the phrase we've probably used most this season, is that these cars sort of levitate on the surface. They're right on the limit of adhesion. There's not a hell of a lot of downforce, but it's mainly mechanical grip, isn't it, in these things?
Yeah, and here in at Suzuka, you often get very high track temperature, and the surface is very, very low grip. It's very greasy.
Yeah.
And actually, it feels like you're driving. It feels like you're playing curling with a car. It's honestly the throttle control is so important, because if you're just too over aggressive, you've got to be really, really gentle, proper Yoda style, you know. So it's really, look at this. You see Paul Regal, look at that understeer. He's just got to try and let it. He's handling it very, very well. But there's one thing that the drivers are going to be really up against today, Chaz, and obviously today has been a huge day for iRacing fans with new cars, new tracks, etc. But today has been the day where the quarterly update has been delivered, and most of the time when the quarterly update comes out, all of the setup data goes out the window. It's like a new car. And what that means is the drivers are now, no matter how much practice they've done, whatever setup that was on, it's in the bin. They've had to basically quickly get a setup together for the drivers, and it's kind of a bit more seat of the pants. So we could see a little bit more of the shake-up of the order here. We might see more of the same. Let's see. But the drivers have really got their hands full today.
They will indeed, and I think that it's going to make for just as much exciting racing as we usually get, maybe even more, as you say. But the slippery Japanese tarmac, of course, a big talking point tonight. It's legendary in motorsport that the Japanese circuits all have this sort of extra slippery surface about them. So I'm intrigued to see how that affects the drivers. This is Carl Hazelton in his number 24 machine. And I think that's Porsche Centre Chester, isn't it? Which is not far from yours truly. But nice little...
You can black a test drive down there, Chaz?
I probably could. Just go and say, I know Bernie. Speaking of.
I think, is Carl not the dealer principal there? I think he's either the business manager or the dealer principal at Porsche Centre Chester. So I think, Chaz, if we plug Porsche Centre Chester, that's Porsche Centre Chester enough, Carl might sort us out a car for the weekend. You never know.
Yeah, Carl Hazelton there of
Porsche
Centre Chester.
Look at that, right on the apex. Brilliant from Carl Hazelton. Look at this. Here he goes, absolutely flat out. Everyone else is lifting through here, but Carl, look at this. Flat to the floor, look at that.
Oh, and not a foot wrong.
Oh, just look how he's so late on the brakes here. Oh, boom, 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 down the gearbox. Oh, clips the apex. Oh, Carl Hazelton, what a driver. Just the right amount of curb there. He doesn't hit the curb on the outside. I told him not to do that, you know. I said, look, it spins up the rears. Oh, right. He's like, I'll decide.
Yeah, he will decide. Julien Noise out on circuit. He's in what looks like a different livery this evening. This seems to be one of the standard iRacing liveries. And I spent all day making sure that the colours matched in our timing software. But that's an interesting one.
Look at Jamie Ward. Look at Jamie Ward, 82.
Oh, he's got the Coca-Cola livery back on.
He's got the Coca-Cola. Oh, fantastic. I don't know what Met car is, but I do know what Coca-Cola is. Do you think he'll hopefully want to share the tarmac with his fellow competitors? But that just looks right. A Coca-Cola livery on a Porsche just looks the business, doesn't it?
It does indeed. Certainly is a tasty one. And Jamie, of course, earlier this season was running the Michelin livery. This season, he's decided, runs wide through Spoon Curve.
Speaking of the Michelin Pilot livery, of course, made famous by Malcolm Wilson in the Ford Escort RS Cosworth. And that's my earliest memory of a racing car, actually, was that particular machine. And my lovely girlfriend Lucy knows that I'm a bit of a Scrooge. I'm not a fan of Christmas. And to sort of cheer me up and help with the joy of Christmas, she made, I kid you not, hand-painted Christmas baubles for the Christmas tree, all in racing patterns. So we've got a Lotus one, we've got Herbie, and Michelin Pilot.
I love that.
Michelin Pilot, I'll send you a photograph. It's what a gem, eh?
That's absolutely legendary. What a keeper. Love that. Love that. Ryan Parkins is loving this at the moment. Gavin Halls has gone closer. He's just over a quarter of a second down on the fastest driver at the moment. That's an almighty lock-up into turn one from Jamie Ward. and then he
Do a
has
McLaren.
to... Sorry?
I said, don't do a McLaren again.
Oh, yes. Yes, let's not through that. Jamie Ward having a bit of a moment in front of him. Who else haven't we given any attention to? Oh, that's not the time to catch Stephen Kershaw.
Oh, well held.
Enters the World Drifting Championship. But, yeah, Gulf colours there. Looked like there was oil down on the circuit, you could say. But, yeah, he does a good job of saving that. Half the time, that's the battle won, isn't it? You just slam on the brakes and make sure that you get the car stopped before you let it rotate any further, as Stuart Clark decides, nope, don't want anything to do with that lap. Now here's Mark Johnson in the Bombardier livery. Love that on that car. Looks very good indeed. Certainly suits it.
Hops over the curbs well.
He does indeed. Oh, there we go. The wonderful sort of format we have here with heat racing means that we have to instantly go to the grid. So Ryan Parkins from Gavin Halls on the front row, Patrick Charlton and Paul Rieger on row 2 ahead of Carl Sharkey and Mark Baxter-Jones. We then have Johnny Elia and James Cummings with Gary Tall and Byron Crawford rounding out your 10. Then we have Stuart Clark and Mark Johnson, followed by Mark Phillips and Chris Bowie. Then it's Oliver Carwadine ahead of Mark Bowe, with Danny Jones and Stephen Kershaw on the 9th row of the grid. Amrik Sachdev is 19th ahead of Angus Archer in 20th, with Carl Hazelton and Julian Noisy in 22nd. Then it's Gilles Gardner alongside Ryan Penny on the 12th row, with Colin Wynne, Andrew Soper, Mark Searle, Jamie Ward and Andrew Marston just behind. So, Peter, you know what I'm going to ask you, and I think I know what your answer may be, but do you have a winner in this one?
Gavin Halls.
You think?
Full send, Gav. Yeah, he's doing a Casey Stoner here. He's just taking his time coming to the grid. No Matt Dorrington tonight as well. His one of his children has given him the cold, so he's got the sniffles. So no Matt Dorrington tonight.
We sincerely hope that you do get better, Matt, and hope to see you back out on circuit again at the next round. Of course, not many rounds left to go in this season now either, Peter, and it's another championship for us that's flown by. Ryan Parkins has appeared and then disappeared again. Maybe just checking something on the setup. Is he just maybe thinking, do I have enough fuel? He's not actually taking the start. Now, there you go. That's opened it up to Gavin Halls. That's a big change. We'll have to keep our eye on it and see whether he disconnects. But round 13 of the PCGB Sim Racing Championship is underway. Great start off the line by Gavin Halls. As you can see, Ryan Parkins flies down the order on the timing tower. They all fan out a little bit, as is the nature here at Suzuka. Very wide circuit, looks a bit close in the middle there. Stephen Kershaw, Mark Bowe and Mark Johnson just making a bit of contact. Is it nice and tidy at the back of the field? Don't forget cold tyres. It's going to be very, very sketchy for these guys, but up through the Estes is the scary bit, but nice tidy stuff through the first couple of corners there.
Absolutely amazing stuff from the drivers. I think we really have to overstress just how slippy the tarmac is. I mean, this is such a low adhesion circuit. And for
no, Chris Bowie.
Over the side by side. Oh, he's going to go to Oliver Carwadine in the pit lane later and say, let's dance. Oh,
he's dancing his own there. Bombardier. Stephen Kershaw got collected there by Oliver Carwadine. We've got more cars off. Ryan Parkins started from the pit lane, and he's just had a bit of an issue there as well, trying to get through that. But at the front, not giving a damn about all of this, is Gavin Halls. He's more concentrated on Paul Rieger and Patrick Charlton just behind there, getting nice and close as well. But that all started with Chris Bowie. Admittedly, I'm going to say this, he just squeezed Carwadine a little bit here, look. There's a tiny bit of net code. He goes to turn in normally.
He loses it on his own, actually.
I think
if you look at it again, I think he lost. Yeah, either combination of combination of net code and losing it on his own, I think.
That was a big, big hit as well for Carwadine and Stephen Kershaw. Interesting to see Ryan Parkins made it into the race, so he didn't miss it by that much, but he did start from the pit lane, so very, very odd indeed. I hope we can figure out what happened there with Ryan, but still means that we've got a hell of a race going on at the front. Everybody trying just to do their very best at the moment to not get caught out.
No sign of Sergeant Bash either.
No, I was just thinking that, to be honest.
Neither on the track or in the chat. That is very unlike him. So he said we should send out a search party.
We do indeed. Byron Crawford.
Lovely racecraft there from Carl Hazelton from Porsche Centre Chester.
I was wondering when that plug would come in, to be honest. Well, one lap in the books and they're still fighting here. Mark Johnson and Mark Bowe, the two Marks. There's three Marks, actually. Mr. Phillips is just ahead. But Gavin Halls, he's got a bit of defending to do here, hasn't he?
He does, yeah. He's going to have, well, he's got the Paul Anker's Riga in the white and blue machine there just behind. But the thing with Gavin is once he gets into a rhythm, oh my word, that's when you see his true pace. When he really gets, once he's in that groove, typical real world racing driver, it just doesn't come out of it. And as he comes through Degner 1 and Degner 2, tune in for story time in between the two races. I've got a cracker about the Degner corners, but I will no time for it just now. As you see Patrick Charlton jinking out to the outside of Paul Riga there as they come into the hairpin and then up towards 200R. And I tell you what, Mark Baxter Jones continues his really, well, ascendant season. He's up in 4th place already.
Yeah, he's doing a smashing job here. Up 2 places, obviously one of them at the expense of Ryan Parkins. We've got Byron Crawford now trying to pull a blinder on Carl Hazelton of Porsche Centre Chester. Now go on, Carl, defend. I mean, no bias. This is just a nice little battle though between these pair, but you can see that now they're dropping off. And Ryan Penny, who has also had a really, really good start to his race. He had a bit of a struggle last season with the car. Colin Wynn is up. Oh, there's commentator's curse. I was just about to say Colin Wynn is up 9 places, biggest mover in the field so far, and then he went and threw it away, I'm afraid. That is literally how quickly commentator's curse strikes, although we've got cars off. Further up, Paul Riga is off. Patrick Charlton's off as well. Surely these pair have come together.
At the Casio chicane, that is some Ayrton Senna and Alan Prost.
No. Oh, Patrick just missed his braking point, and then secondary and tertiary contact there as well with the back of Riga. Let's just have a quick look at Colin Wynn. I think he was just eager on the throttle. It's horrible over there. Oh, just
spoon
on the change-up.
Yeah.
He was
classic spoon curve.
I think
that could have been worse.
I think he was lucky to miss that first barrier where it stuck out a little bit more. That probably could have spun him back into the circuit with a big enough hit, but a little bit more speed scrubbed off. He just kissed that secondary barrier, so he got away with that, I think. Ryan Parkins, of course, he would be biggest mover in the field, but our timing screen shows that he's lost 17 places after qualifying on pole and starting in the pits. So he's 18th at the moment, with a lot more progress yet to be made, but just 2 cars ahead of him. Ryan Penny, he's doing a good job. Oh, Carl Hazelton of Porsche Centre Chester.
Someone's put him off, obviously.
Yeah. He's just testing the shocks on the car. It's part of the whole sort of safety testing for these cars.
Car handover.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. He's
along with pairing your phone up to the car.
Yes, that. Honestly, if I could tell you the stories about the phone that was apparently paired up to our rental car in Germany at the Nürburgring, it was very odd. But something that's very urgent is clearly Andrew Soper, who's trying to get past Gilles Gardner at the moment. Gilles in the number 22 machine. It looks like Soper is living up to the urgent wording on the front of his car, although he drops back a bit through there. Maybe the car just feeling like it was getting away from him a bit on the way into Spoon Curve. It's such a dodgy part of the circuit because, especially this left-hander where we saw Colin Wynn just have his moment a lap ago, the car is sort of going over the crest just as it comes out of the corner and you turn in. Side-by-side stuff now down towards 130R. Hold your breath, everybody. I think Gilles Gardner's let him go. He has. He slots back in.
Wise.
Yes, indeed. Through goes Andrew Soper.
Yeah, Gilles Gardner just had a bit of a, like you said, Chaz, that double left of Spoon Curve. It's so tricky. And he had quite a big moment there coming out there and had to come out the gas. And that just killed his run. And, as we look back at Mark Phillips, who's finding... I had to tell you what, I think Patrick Charlton's like, me coming through. Oh, we got, no way. Are we influencers, Chaz? Is that a Doombar livery?
James Cummings has obviously been watching the broadcast back and listened to you very much so. Love that.
And it's in like McLaren Gulf colours as well, even more.
Yeah, he sort of reflected his part of his livery from last season, hasn't he, and updated it with the Doombar livery on it. So thank you, James Cummings. That was awesome. We can now be classed as influencers, I think. I'm pleased with that.
Oh, then what supercar are you going to buy this week and then sell it and then get on?
Yeah, very. That's a very.
You know what? I'll tell you what. Riga's in the wall. I tell you what. Whatever I'm buying, I'll be buying it from Carl Hazelton at Porsche Centre Chester.
Oh, Paul went in a little bit too hot there, and he clips that bit of the wall, and then it puts him in the other one. That's a real pain in the backside for him, isn't it? And he's stopped again, coming back on. He's had a bit of rear damage there by the look of it. Not quite sure what's caused that. Oh, he's reversed. Oh, steady on, Paul. Oh, that's a scary one. But he's got back going, but unfortunately
Speaking of influencers.
yeah, down in 18th is Carl Sharkey. Caravan Carl joins his teammate at the top of the pile, up into second place past Mark Baxter-Jones. Now Mark has to think about Johnny Elia behind him, who's also been having a very good season, hasn't he? Look at that view. Love that.
Yeah, absolutely. Brilliant view there. Who would have thought having a central heating sponsor would give you such a cool livery? But it does. The Valent livery, a classic 911 livery, absolutely superb. And it's been, do you know, the cool thing is it's been immortalised in lots of models and Matchbox cars use that particular livery on the Porsche 911. Funnily enough, very, very famous Japanese model company Tamiya have a scale model of this particular car with that particular livery.
Ah, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I've built a few of their kits before with mainly aircraft, but they certainly do some good stuff. Now this is Carl Hazelton of Porsche Centre Chester with Colin Wynn, sorry, not Paul Rieger. Colin Wynn trying to fit into the gap around the outside. Now he's definitely not got 9 lives after that one. That was scary. He does go alongside. There is a gap there, but then much like the one that Senna went for in 1989 or 1990? I can't remember now. But yeah, the gap just suddenly disappeared all of a sudden, and I'm not quite sure who to blame, if anybody. But
well, I'm not blaming Carl Hazelton, that's for sure. No way. I want to get that. I want to get that borrow of a GT3 for the weekend.
Yes, that's very true indeed. Now, as you can see, Gilles Gardner now is just he's trying to run away as hard as possible with Chris Bowie as well, because they know that Carl Hazelton is 5 seconds a lap quicker than them at the moment, and he's clearly just hanging back and just biding his time, trying to scare them a little bit. But no, in all seriousness, Chris Bowie trying to start some sort of assault here on the... Oh, hello. That was the very pretty
He's
carbon
saying, let's
fiber.
dance.
Yeah. He was indeed, with the big David Bowie graphic on the front of his car as well. Love some of the liveries out there, I must say. I know we talk about it all the time, but they are really, really good. Oh, Stephen Kershaw taking a very different line through there. Manages to recover. Bit of a scary moment indeed. How is Ryan Parkins getting on? He's up to 12th position now, as it's close again. Up near the front, this is Johnny Elia with Gary Toll right behind him. And Gary's been one of the quick ones this season as well, hasn't he? He's been great to watch.
He's been fantastic, yeah. And Gary has, he has quite a fantastic. You talk about car histories. You know, some people have just dreadful car histories. You go, what on earth did you buy that for? But Gary does not. He does not have that. He's had GT3s, he's had Imprezas, Evos, Escort RS Cosworths. You name it, he's had it. And yeah, he knows how to choose a car. I bet you he didn't buy a leggy 3-litre TDI A5 that leaked oil and the exhaust fell off after the first day he bought it. Who would do that?
Oh no!
Oh
no, Danny Jones off in the gravel. What happened here? Did he get pushed or did he jump? Paul Rieger's gone off again as well. Oh, that curb unsettles the car. Round it goes, and then Paul Rieger has his own moment in the background. Looks like one of the Blue Impulse planes from the Japanese Air Force Aerobatic Display Team. Or, sorry, I should call it the Japanese Air Self-Defense Force is what it's called. The JASDF, not the JAF. Nerdy fact.
Or it looks like a bottle of Pocari Sweat. Have you ever had a bottle of Pocari Sweat before?
Any drink with the name Sweat in, I don't think I want to drink.
Well, no, but that's the whole thing. It's when you are sweating, you have it. It's like electrolyte isotonic drink that they sell in Japan. It's called Pocari Sweat, and it is so tasty. It is really, really fantastic. And see, for a hangover, even better than Iron Brew. Honestly, you heard it here first.
Scotsman say something's better than Iron Brew for a hangover. What is
correct? Pocari Sweat.
That was Carl Hazelton there doing another very thorough test on the shocks of his Porsche, which It's not directly from Porsche Centre Chester, but I imagine there's just as tasty a car waiting in the showroom there. Now, someone that isn't waiting is Mark Baxter-Jones, because he lost this place to Carl Sharkey a couple of laps ago as... Oh, wait a second. Sorry. Something has stolen my attention here. Now, it's not often you see the King Hippo doing that.
That's a collector's item. Wow. That is rarer than the back page of the Tamiya catalogue.
Just that curb.
Oh, well, there you go. If you want a demonstration of how tricky this circuit is, and in particular Spoon Curve, there you go. Your championship leader, you know, about to become double champion here in the Porsche Club of Great Britain. And, yeah, perfect demonstration there of just how tricky this circuit is.
Yep, certainly is. Any little bit of curb like that, any bit of Astro can just unsettle the car, and the job is done. He's now onto the back of Mark Bowe, who Byron Crawford has just overtaken. Byron's actually still lost one place from where he started as well, which is a shame, but he's still pushing on and doing everything he can.
So we've got Dan Bathy in the chat, unfortunately not racing tonight, but on the subject, we've not got Dan's lovely Sacred Coffee car out there, and oof, dearie me, is Stuart Clark battling away with a resurgent Patrick Charlton. But yes, if I'm sounding particularly more hyped than normal, it's because I am wired on my Sacred Coffee pods, which have now arrived, and drinking it out of a lovely Sacred Coffee espresso cup as well. So thank you to Sacred Coffee for that.
Awesome sauce. I might have to get one for the missus for Christmas. Can you send me one, please? Andrew Soap has had an issue. Oh, that's Degner too, and that is a Porsche with no bonnet, I'm afraid. Something has definitely gone awry there. Is he just going to run wide? Oh, he's just gone in a bit hot there. Turns in a bit early. It opens up the line. Bang into the wall. He gets lucky, though, that it doesn't sort of spit him out further, but the damage is not going to be helping that car one bit. Now, there's Carl Hazelton just behind of Porsche Centre Chester. Jamie Ward has just lost a position to him. Further up, though, Carl Sharkey and Mark Baxter-Jones still having this fight as they go down the straight. And I've just realised as well, Peter, I was saying before how quickly this season's gone by. This is the penultimate race meeting, which is a real shame.
That's rubbish. That is rubbish. I'm not happy about that one bit. Yeah, final race on the 23rd of December. Goodness, I have to get sobered up before that. But yeah, this is what a battle here between Carl Sharkey and Mark Baxter-Jones. And yeah, who would have thought we wouldn't have had a Dorrington or a Parkins at the front in race one? It's been a strange day, and this circuit, it does throw up unpredictability, that's for sure.
It certainly does. As we ride on board with Mark Baxter-Jones, you can see just trying to get the car planted to chase after Mr. Sharkey just in front. A bit further down the order, you've got Byron Crawford. Are you ready? With Ryan Parkins there, right behind him. Starting the chase now. Ryan just
in his blind spot.
You could say that, yeah. I was going to say that Ryan, now he's going to be in the middle of the grid when it gets reversed as well. So while he's going to be ahead of his rivals by quite a lot, he's not going to gain too much from it. Mark Searle has had an issue, I'm afraid. He's going to need a drink of water after this. Oh, the back of that car is looking very second-hand. That's a big off, and it's going to be a huge hit. Or is it? Oh, actually, he did all right to not hit the wall harder than that, to be honest. I bet there was a scary moment, though. We'll go on board. You'll just see the back get away there. It's gone. It's gone, mate. And then across the grass, he's turning, and it's not doing anything, unfortunately. That is the wall, and that is now the pit lane for him. Byron Crawford still trying to hold on. Mark Phillips. Mark Phillips has had an issue. Oh, well, carbon copy of what Ryan did, isn't it, really?
Whoa. Well, that is a place whereby you can't put your Michelin tyre.
It is indeed. He obviously knew there was no cars coming, otherwise that rejoin would have been considered sketchy, but he had a lot of space.
The good thing is tomorrow he'll be able to get some one-on-one coaching through a piece of very revolutionary video software called Whereby.
He will indeed. Yes, he'll be very pleased with that. It's nice knowing that you've got that in your back pocket to use. Oh, Colin Wynn's gone off again. Oh, it's the same place. Oh, Colin. He's had a nightmare. The car's come screaming through, gets back on circuit. Byron Crawford still ahead of Ryan Parkins. Gavin Halls, 6.2 second lead. You called that he was going to win this one. and it looks like he's well on his way.
Yeah, I'm sure Gav will really be enjoying this. And of course, for those that don't know, Gavin is actually the lead instructor at the Bahrain International Circuit and has been glued in the race control room for the last fortnight with Formula One. And as you can imagine, he's had a pretty busy and pretty stressful... Oh, Patrick Charlton's off. But yeah, Gav's had a pretty stressful and busy couple of weeks. So I'm sure he's having an absolute ball out there at the front winning this race.
Yep, he'll be certainly needing this. And we've got Carl Hazelton in the pits. Carl Hazelton's had an issue somewhere.
He's stopped to phone in to sort out our rental car, Chaz.
Yes, that's exactly it. So thank you, Carl. We appreciate you sacrificing the championship.
Really
points.
kind.
Yeah, we'll give you a ring after this one, mate, and sort that out. Paul Rieger's car.
As long as it's not got a PDK.
Gilles Gardner's had it off as well at the Degner. That's probably the noise he made as well when he turned in and it didn't quite do what he wanted it to. Gets back on. Look at this though, this still intrigues me this. Mark Baxter-Jones on the back of Carl Sharkey. Probably, 1 lap to go now after this. And this is getting close here between these pair. Carl Sharkey's not got this his own way. And I tell you what, if he doesn't get a good run out of here, well, he does, so never mind. I was going to say Mark Baxter-Jones will be all over the back of him. And James Cummings has got to think about this as well, though, because look, there's Johnny Elia just behind. Looks like Johnny's going to get the run. Just go down the inside.
Stuart Clark.
Yes, Stuart Clark, apologies. Johnny Elia further forward in the other black and white machine. You could say that James is doomed.
The drawing of a blow-up doll on the front of Stuart Clark's car.
Yeah, I do like that. It's quite an interesting livery, especially the pink wheels as well. Very artistic. But nice move. Nice move from Stuart. I did used to get those two mixed up in Season 1. So, apologies, boys. Now, they've both got white bonnets and sort of dark arches and everything. So, hopefully, Chaz can tell the difference by the final round, of course, in 2 weeks' time. Look at this from Patrick Charlton, really pushing now. But that's the thing with these S's. You go in too hot in one of them, it just puts you completely offline for the next, doesn't it? It's like you've got to reset to go back up the hill properly.
Yeah, it's known as the snake for good reason. It's, like you say, it's like one big... constant chain. You've got it. If you get one part wrong, you're getting the rest of it wrong as well, and you just sap time. It's not like in a high downforce car where you can just sort of pin it and sort of you can get out of trouble. But in these cars, as Brian Crawford hops over the curb at the first Degner into the second Degner, he can't get it shut down. And then dearie me, actually did well to keep that one out the gravel and the barriers there actually, because that's pretty quick through there.
Yeah, it's a scary corner because no matter what you're doing, if you're turning right and you're running wide, the corner is always going away from you, isn't it, up there? Very scary bit of track. Someone that's not really come across a scary bit of track yet is Gavin Halls, who has led this race from the very beginning in the wonderful Porsche Sport machine through 130R for the final time. You can probably take it easy now into the last couple of corners, onto the brakes nice and safe. Bit of curb here and there maybe. But Gavin Halls will be over the moon with this one, reigniting his championship charge. Flashes the lights already. And Gavin Halls takes round 13 of the Porsche Club GB Sim Racing Championship. Carl Sharkey makes it a Porsche Sport 1-2 as well. Brilliant. Mark Baxter-Jones on the podium. Johnny Healy just ahead of Gary Tall. And then Stuart Clark is just going to fend off James Cummings behind him as well. A little bit further back, we do have a very feisty battle going on between Ryan Penny, Danny Jones and Chris Bowie. Chris Bowie down the inside into 130R. Does he think better of it? Bit of a lock-up on the way in. Sort of kills the battle there and then. Danny Jones, I'm sure, will be thanking his lucky eggs at the moment. As Ryan Penny's gone a little bit deep there. Well, you could say Danny Jones will be thanking his lucky star mix. As Chris Bowie, is he going to open that door down the inside across the line? No, he's not. But wow. Another great race to start the day. And Carl Hazelton, actually, is trying to get past Andrew Marston. Beautiful move by Carl Hazelton down the inside of the Pink Pig. Not Andrew, the car. But,
very
wow.
famous. Fast livery. Le Mans winning livery as well. And Carl Hazelton, that's move of the day for me. I mean, he just sends it up the inside, brings it in on the brakes, dance it in on the edge of adhesion, and that's the sort of credentials that Carl Hazelton of Porsche Centre Chester brings to the table here. And that's the faster line around that particular corner, around the 130R, just using all the road.
He's indeed. There you go. Look at that full attack into the chicane. Love it from...
I tell you what, we're going to get an ultraviolet GT3 RS at this rate, Chaz.
Either that or we're going to get a monumental spanking for sounding sarcastic. But there you go. Andrew Marston across the line, flashes the lights. Great spirits as always from these drivers. Gilles Gardner forcing this car to finish this race. It looks like it's been through 2 world wars at the moment, that thing. It's had an absolute battering. But at the end of the day, it's what we'd call raced. It certainly has been driven very hard indeed. Colin Wynn is next up as well. He's had a fast repair, it seems, and fixed the damage from earlier after a couple of spins. Gorgeous livery on that machine as well. And I think he will be the final car to cross the line in this first race of the night. But Gavin Halls, what a wonderful victory for him and his teammate Carl Sharkey in second place, getting a 1-2 for those guys. We now, of course, have the warm-up, but that means that we get just a few moments to go over the results. If Peter, if you're feeling generous, we'll bring them up now.
So there we are, confirming then. Gavin Halls in the number 38 Porsche Sport machine wins. In fact, a Porsche Sport 1 too. They're in a rich vein of form in the last couple of weeks. Carl Sharkey just 5 seconds in arrears and second position. Mark Baxter Jones, a brilliant drive from him in the Valent 911 in third, with Johnny Elia fourth and Gary Tall rounding out the top 5. Stuart Clark was 6th, holding out the Doombar machine of James Cummings, with Mark Johnson 8th, Mark Phillips 9th, and 10th was Ryan Parkins after starting from pit lane. A good drive, all things considered. Patrick Charlton finished in 11th with Byron Crawford 12th, Mark Bowe next, followed by Amrik Sashdev, Angus Archer, Ryan Penny, Danny Jones, and Chris Bowie. In your own time, Chaz. There we go. 19th, Stephen Kershaw in 19th, followed by Andrew Soper, Oliver Carwadine, Paul Riga, Jamie Ward, Carl Hazleton, my driver of the day from Porsche Centre Chester, Andrew Marston in the Pink Pig was 25th, with Gilles Gardner 26th, and finally Colin Wynn and Julien Noisy rounding out the with Mark Sell. You hid that one in there. You did that on purpose.
I thought there was 29.
You did that on purpose.
Love it.
Oh, TVB. So I think is it time for story time yet, Chaz?
It is time for story time, yes. I did promise Peter that we would have story time between races, so he's told me that he's got some absolute belters for Suzuka, so I'm going to just turn the music down a little bit, just so we've got at least a bit of background music going on. But yes, I'll leave it up to Peter MacKay and wonderful story time here on Simracersworld TV.
So yes, time for story time then. Of course, the reason why we've added this one in for this particular race is that the Suzuka circuit, much like a lot of motor racing kind of stories and motor racing activity in Japan, it's so rich in heritage and interest and curiosity. And Suzuka is very much a product of the Honda Motor Company's commitment to excellence in motor racing and the sport. And Mr. Honda decided back in 1961 that he would like to build a proper motor racing facility for Japan, and he thought, who's the best guy in the world to design a motor racing circuit? And at the time, it was revered that John Hugenholtz, a Dutchman, was the man to call if you were designing a new circuit. And some of John's work were circuits like Zandvoort and also Zolder as well. And all of a sudden, John Hugenholtz received a telegram at his home in the Netherlands, out of the blue, and all it said was, I'm building a circuit, please come to Tokyo. Yours truly, Soichiro Honda. So he thought, okay, I better get a flight out. So off he went to Japan, and basically was told by Mr. Honda that he could design whatever he liked. Showed him the area of land that they'd bought, which at the time you could do in Japan, and John Hugenholtz basically designed a circuit that involved moving as little earth as possible, doing his job as the designer. And Mr. Honda says, no, tell me where you want the circuit and we'll do the rest. We'll move it around. And that's exactly what they did. And what we have now is this incredible facility with snaking S-bends and, of course, the very famous figure of 8 layout, which, of course, the Suzuka circuit has. But as you'll notice, a lot of the corner names here at Suzuka have a bit of a story behind them as well. Most of which, the Degner corners. Now, it's so good they named it twice. And actually, that's just about where we're going to go here. Just as we see this red car here, which I quite sure. I think it's the Coca-Cola
Jamie,
car,
yeah,
Jamie Ward. Yes, it is. Going through Degner 1 and Degner 2. Now, this is named after a man from East Germany, Ernst Degner, who was an East German who actually fled from the East Germany and actually fled when at the time of, well, as you can imagine, political unrest. But Ernst Degner was a works rider for the East German MZ factory. And MZ had an engineer called Walter Kaden, who was at the time the two-stroke motorcycle guru. At the time, two-stroke motorcycle technology was very much, well, it was sort of frowned upon. It was very much, it all moved to four-stroke by that point. But Walter Kaden knew how to extract incredible power from these two-stroke engines. And Suzuki at the time were a bit of a laughingstock, really. They were always finishing long way down, their bikes broke down, etc. And a gentleman who worked for Suzuki at the time basically plotted a plan to exfiltrate Ernst Degner from East Germany into the West and bring him to Japan, where he would become a Suzuki works rider. And in return, he would bring the secrets of the two-stroke engine. And from then on, as they say, the rest is history, because then the cork was well and truly out the bottle. The genie was out the bottle by that point, because then the two-stroke technology spread across the Japanese motorcycle industry like wildfire. And of course, every Japanese factory, whether that be Suzuki, Honda, or Yamaha, they all had kind of moles in one another's enterprise. So the sort of technology was shared quite quickly. And as they say, the rest is history. The Japanese went on to be the dominant motorcycle manufacturer. But for me, the best race here here at Suzuka is the 8-hour motorcycle race. Now, for the Japanese factories, Honda, the owner of this particular circuit, Yamaha, Suzuki, and Kawasaki, this race, the 8-hour motorcycle race held in the middle of the summer in Japan, is the most important race in the world for those companies. It's even bigger to them than winning the MotoGP World Championship, because the prestige and the bragging rights from company to company is massive. And in the mid-1980s, when Japan's economy was in such a big burst, it was in a bubble at that point, with huge money floating around, Yamaha were determined to break the Honda stronghold on this particular race. They wanted to really demoralize Honda, embarrass them on their home turf, in their own backyard. So they brought in a man called Kenny Roberts, who for many is one of the greatest motorcycle racers of all time. And for this one race, Yamaha paid him, bear in mind, in 1986, $750,000. Kenny Roberts' Leathers sponsor paid him an additional $500,000. 153,000 people came to this event to see King Kenny Roberts racing for Yamaha. And who won? Honda. So I don't know if Yamaha got their money's worth, but they have in the last few years have really got their own back. In fact, Honda haven't won the race for years. Although they are still the most successful manufacturer at the race, Yamaha won it 4 years on a trot, and Kawasaki won it last year. So for the next Suzuki, don't be surprised to see Honda turn up with an even more special effort. Now, Chaz, are you there, my friend? Are you suitably refreshed?
I'm deeply engrossed, mate. Thank you very much for that. That was very, very entertaining, while also being very informative. And I do like the fact that you do often hear these stories of teams, putting so much in to make a really special effort at a special event, only for it to not quite go right. And you think, was that really to plan, boys? But I completely understand what you're saying as well about teams that are so bothered about winning that special event that they would rather not win a different series. And it pays true in things like GT3 racing. I mean, I always tell people to go and watch Chris Harris's video on the Spa 24 Hours when he raced in the Bentley for Team Parker Racing. It's just a beautifully made video. It's incredible. So do go watch it after this stream if you haven't seen it before, anybody. But he says in that video that a lot of the big teams and manufacturers are that bothered about winning the Spa 24 that they will not actually... Oh, hello. They will sandbag during what was then the Blancpain GT Endurance Series to get some extra ponies, as he calls it, for the Spa 24, just so they get the bragging rights of winning that. They'll risk winning an entire championship for one event, and it just goes to show how much prestige, as you said, that these massive events have, isn't it? Especially around Suzuka. I imagine on a bike round here, it's a nightmare for 8 hours.
Well, also it's an amazing challenge as well because it's in the middle of the Japanese summer, which is incredibly humid. I mean, on the motorbikes they're on, it's nearly 40 degrees ambient temperature and over 80% humidity. I mean, you hear of Valentino Rossi, he actually won it with Colin Edwards when he still raced for Honda in the early 2000s, and he said that it was so hot one time that he started to see in black and white.
Wow.
Yeah. And it is hardcore. And the cool thing about it is you have there's usually at least one or two current Grand Prix riders. There's always World Superbike guys, but the amount of local Japanese specialists is the bit that amazes me. And there's teams that, again, focus their whole. Stuart Clark has a bit of a moment there. There's teams that focus their whole effort and around it. And Honda last year did come out with a full factory effort for the first time in quite a while, because they'd been leaving up to customer teams almost slightly a little bit, shall we say, complacent. And Yamaha Yamaha turned up with whoever their top factory riders were and kind of wiped the floor with them over the last few years. But Honda, they've kind of had enough now. And so when Honda have had enough, stand back.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's an amazing event, and 8 hours in the middle of the summer. And actually, this year, last year in 2019, Jonathan Rea and Leon Haslam won it for Kawasaki. But all the other teams were using 3 riders. They did it with just 2. I mean, talk about fitness. I mean, amazing.
Very good effort indeed, isn't it? That's quite scary. What we're just very quickly going to do, everybody, I just need to quickly grab a drink. I was going to get it in the break while Peter gave you story time, but I was so intrigued as to what he had to say, I wanted to listen. So if you just give us 2 minutes, everybody, or 3, we'll be right back. Just grab a drink, and then we'll get the second race underway. Thank you very much for your patience there, everybody. As you all probably know, being hydrated is very important, but when you're in a room filled with monitors and PCs and soundproof foam, trust me, it gets warm in here, and you do need a drink every so often when you're talking through all of that. Chaz Draycott here with Peter MacKay on Simracersworld TV for the Porsche Club GB Sim Racing Championship Season 2. Round 13 from Suzuka has just finished, and round 14 will be getting underway in less than 2 minutes' time. Peter, we've got a reverse grid once again. We always see so much action and a little bit of carnage here and there in these races. Who do you think is going to make the break forward?
Well, there's something we haven't really been used to seeing at all is Ryan Parkins, starting from the mid-pack in the reverse grid race. He's normally stuck right at the back and has to make his way through. So you'd be silly to not put your money on him, but who knows? It's been a strange night so far.
It has indeed. I think we're going to be in for an absolute belter once again. So here is your grid then. Mark Searle and Julien Noisy on pole position. Oh, sorry, front row. Colin Wynn third ahead of Gilles Gardner with Andrew Marston and Carl Hazelton on row 3. Then we have, watch out for Carl actually, Jamie Ward 7th ahead of Paul Rieger. He's going to be right up there as well. Oliver Carwadine and Andrew Soper round out your top 10. And then we'll filter the rest through because this race will very quickly get underway. But look out for some of those guys coming from further down the order. Ryan Parkins 20th on the grid in this one. Gavin Hall's right at the back of the field. But it's Mark Searle on the right-hand side of your shot in the BWT machine that will be starting from pole. Still not seen a bottle of that water anywhere. If you have, please do let us know. Send it in to Simracersworld TV and we'll give it a go and tell you that it just tastes like water. So,
Detailed tasting notes.
Julien Noisy joins him on the front row. Colin Wynn in third place. He's going to be hoping to put the curse of Spoon Curve to bed. Could call it Spoon Curse. We've not got Paul Rieger on the grid, unfortunately, by the look of it. But round 14 of the championship is just about to get underway. Now, you can hear the wheel spin, you can hear the revs, and Mark Searle hasn't got away as well as Julien Noisy did. See him fanning out in the background. That's Mark Phillips all over the right-hand side of the shot. Anyway, he's on the left-hand side of the circuit. Or a little bit of argy-bargy just in front. I think that's Jamie Ward just closing it up. Ryan Penny's down the inside. There were 3 wide behind there as well. Amric Sashdev involved in that. Byron Crawford loses a spot. Mark Bowe goes down the inside, up through the S's. Everybody behave yourselves. How the heck did they all get through there like that then? Let's not jinx it though. We'll just watch the mid-pack because you might see the bottom of the shot or the top of the shot. Something may kick off, but it all seems very neat and tidy so far. Oh, I say it. Mark Phillips, Patrick Charlton, and Paul Rieger goes through it. But Mark Phillips and Patrick Charlton the ones off. But Julien Noisy leading the way for now. There you go. Sorry, mate. There goes Colin Wynn. Oh, Amric. No, Amric. Oh, Peter, it's all gone to pot.
Oh, well, we know that Amric's a very keen golfer, so he'll know all about spending plenty of time in the sand. So it'll be familiar to him.
Oh, no.
Oh, he'll need to watch out for that. Oh.
Wow, I think that's one of the best ones.
Look, he's got a Japanese flag on the rear flank. Now, I remember this. Remember all the way back at Spa last season when Oliver Carwadine had Delirium Beer elephant on his car. That's a nice touch. I like that.
Yeah. Little Japanese flag.
Very
it just looks
cool.
like a red dot to most people, but it is genuinely a Japanese flag. Trust us. Just in front of this. So that was a very close-up shot. There's plenty going on here between Andrew Soper and Chris Bowie. I'm going to have a quick look back at what happened between Mark Phillips and... Oh, no! The man's an animal. Oh, heck. Marston over. And yeah, Soper... Soper, you could consider the man is an animal. After that contact there through 130R, he's probably slowing down, hoping that he can give the place back, but he's going to be waiting a while. But let's go back to midway round lap 1 and see what happened here. Oh, there's contact just in front. I thought that I saw the contact at the bottom of my shot at the time. It was Patrick Charlton making contact with, I think, was that... where's he gone? It was Byron Crawford, wasn't it, that was involved in that?
I think he was maybe the trigger point. Yes. Yes, he was. Just got into the side of Patrick Charlton and Mark Phillips, nowhere to go. Oh my, they are in trouble. Oh dear. Oh dear. They will be getting a good old talking to in the virtual stewards room on Whereby tomorrow.
Oh, it's kicked off at the last corner.
Bombardier.
We did just miss this one. So Paul Rieger, there's contact there with James Cummings, Stuart Clark into Patrick Charlton, and then Mark Phillips again getting caught up in that. We'll have to have a look at it back from his point of view. I think it looks like there was some shenanigans before this as well. Oh, heck. It's all kicked off there, and then, yeah, there is the contact. Oh, a real nightmare that is. Real nightmare indeed. But with that first one, I'm not sure Patrick Charlton left enough room for Byron Crawford on the inside. He seemed to just take a line where there wasn't enough of a car's width down the inside to go through. But we've got two white Porsches now with red stripes down the inside. One of them is driven by the fastest...
Look at Carl Hazelton on the karting line. Oh.
I was going to say one of them's driven by the fastest man in the series. The other one's Ryan Parkins, who's getting 15 places. Who's now going to try and get even further up. Don't forget, he started 20th. This is lap 2. He's now 5th. How?
I think he started from the back as well. I actually don't think he started from 10th. I think he started at the back. I could be wrong.
It was 20th. 20th
he was back in... Oh, my word. Right, okay. Oh, jeepers. Wow. Up the inside at the Casio chicane. Oh, but a very calculated manoeuvre there from Ryan Parkins.
I was hoping it was going to be a keyboard or a piano pun, but through goes Mark Parkins, Ryan Parkins on Mark Sill. Goodness me, everybody! Why did they choose for us? They wanted us to come back for this season. Oh, I'm so glad that they did. This is epic stuff. Right then, we've got a big battle going on here. Julien Noizet is still up near the front, but Colin Wynn is 4.3 seconds clear. Ryan Parkins is the next car down the road. We've got Chris Bowie's just gone past Mark Sill. Ryan Penny's in there. Stephen Kershaw, Danny Jones, Angus Archer, then Gilles Gardner has got Mark Baxter-Jones behind him and Gary Tall. Mark Baxter-Jones has gained 16 places in this race so far. Oh, there's cars off in front. Mark Searle. Mark Searle is around. Did he get help? I'm trying to click on it. Oh, he's done it on his own. Oh, and then there's a hit from Ryan Penny. It's such a shame. And now he's back on, but slow. And he's just getting up to speed again, I think, just trying to stay safe, isn't he? Look at this train. Sorry, mate. I know I just cut over again here, but just everyone have a look at this train of cars here.
Wow.
Behind
this is like a touring car race. This is like the Simracersworld TCRs last night, but it's Porsche Cup cars. Fantastic. And I tell you what, Gilles Gardner doing a great job. He's got some seriously quick boys behind him, and he's doing a brilliant job making that 911 Cup car really wide as they head up towards Spoon Curve. Now, you can make a move here if you're really brave. Now, can you believe that Casey Stoner crashed there in the Suzuka 8-hour a couple of years ago when the throttle stuck open on a superbike? No, thank you.
Yeah, no.
And I don't think I think that was his last competitive race. After that, he didn't get injured. He just thought, stuff that.
Yeah, I'm not doing that again. I think, was it Vinales this season that got the throttle stuck open at Austria? Or am I thinking
lost his brakes? Yeah.
Yeah, and he jumped off at 180. He just decides to ditch the bike. It's just... They're a different breed, and I really do respect it, and I can understand why Stoner wouldn't want to carry on. Someone that does want to carry on is Gary Tall. He wants to push hard here and try and get past Mark Baxter-Jones, and then past Gilles Gardner, because Danny Jones is further up the road, and Ryan Parkins and Julien Noizet side by side for second place.
Yeah, this has been a fantastic drive up the field from... Oh, now look at that there. Ryan could have just taken a big dive there, but he didn't. He just backed off it because he didn't need to. And that's why, you know, Ryan has so much respect for those he's racing against, and they have respect for him, and that's why he's the King Hippo.
He is indeed. Nice, respectful stuff, and that's the thing.
Mark Bowe. Whew, feisty Mark Bowe there, just taking the spot back. I tell you, well, we should always now, we must say hello to Mrs. Bowe, Mark's mum. Mark's #1 fan, and by association, we'll claim it, a fan of ours as well. So, hello, Mrs. Bowe. I hope you're enjoying the broadcast.
We do indeed. We hope you're having a wonderful time watching Mark do his best in the wonderful chrome machine. But I was going to say the main thing out of that I took from what Ryan Parkins did there was, oh no, it's gone to pot for James Cummings. I was going to say that the main thing that Ryan Parkins did is he identified the opportunity. You know, he didn't go down the inside. He didn't force the issue. He just took that extra second to just say, this guy might make a mistake. I'm just going to hold back, see what happens. And then he did. He just made a little mistake, ran a bit wide, and through he went. He was able to take advantage of that. And the really good drivers can do that and get into the head of the opponent in front of them. And it's not easy to do. That's the thing. You can make moves all over the place and think that you're getting the better of the driver that you're trying to attack, but it's not always how it works. As Carl Sharkey is definitely on the attack. He's gained 16 places so far. Ryan Parkins has gained 18. Mark Baxter-Jones has gained 20. Oliver Carwadine side by side with Mark Johnson. Holds him off for now, and that's going to leave Angus Archer there. Oh, Gavin Halls is around.
Oh, Gav.
I wonder if this is a repeat of what Ryan did.
Yep. There you go. You know, so you've got the championship leader, a man who raced Formula Fords against some pretty big names. Oh, goodness me. Oh, Stephen Kershaw. He's been in the wall. Oh, God, be careful.
Oh, it's kicked off. Oh, it's kicked off further up.
Oh,
Johnny
my.
Elliott and Oliver Carwadine went off. I want to see what happened. I think Gary Tall might have had something to do with this. He's gone off on his own. Oh, there's contact with Baxter-Jones and Kershaw. And then just behind, where's Johnny Elliott? Oh, Carwadine comes, well, it's a Miley Cyrus single about that somewhere, but wow, that was a huge hit. Carwadine just didn't seem to see the incident there. That was a very strange one. Let's have a look from on board, not to incriminate him, but you can see it all checks up in front, and as a sim racer, I know you're thinking freebies. Oh, he sees the gap, and then, yeah, Johnny Elliott comes back over to the left to just fill the room, not knowing that Carwadine's got such of an overspeed. And unfortunately, Elliott in the pits and now back out after a fast repair. But scary, scary place to have that happen, isn't it?
Yeah, that's fast. Into there, coming out of 130R. That is a proper corner. Really, really quick. And now we're looking back from Gilles Gardner to Carl Sharkey. And I tell you what, Carl's in a really good, rich vein of form right now. He's been racing a lot, mainly at the wheel of the 911 RSR, but I've always obviously watched a lot of Carl's races, and he's a really got a really strong racecraft. Plays it really clever, and yeah, doing a good job so far here. And look, here he goes. He's going to go round the outside, but that's going to give him the inside for Spoon Curve. Will Gilles move over? Nope, gives him a bit of respect, and I think maybe Gilles just fans out of the throttle there slightly. Carl goes through, but be careful. Oh, keep the wheel straight. Yeah, he's getting straighten the wheel up there to avoid the inevitable, shall we say. But yeah, great stuff there from Carl Sharkey. But I don't know if you saw it in the Movember charity race, Chaz, on the last lap of a 6-hour race. Austin Greatorex, shall we say, sent it up the inside of Carl at Indianapolis and turfed Carl into the gravel. He was less than impressed.
I can imagine he was, to be fair. And I mean, speaking of less than impressed, I've just realised my door to my office is literally within arm's reach of where I sit, and my missus has just opened the door a slight bit, and I just looked over my left monitor just to see a face above the monitor, and I've literally nearly just jumped off my chair. I'm less than impressed that she's just going to close the door and walk away now like nothing's happened, and I'm sweating now, honestly. I need some of that drink that you mentioned before.
You need a Picari sweat, yeah.
Yeah. Flipping heck. This is the thing when you broadcast and you get so into it. If there's someone else in the house, you must trust them. Wow. Flipping heck. So, I've got to try and calm
have you
down.
on your toes?
Definitely. Just like Mark Baxter-Jones is going to be on his toes now looking in the mirrors. But Danny Jones and Julian Noisy, the cars ahead. Chris Bowie and Gary Tall are right behind. It looks like Baxter-Jones is able to open up that gap a little bit, though. And he's going to want to cool off, you could say.
Someone else who's just jumped out their seat is Austin Greatorex. He's I don't think he appreciated that comment. He's in the YouTube chat saying, "No, I never, Peter." Lol. Who didn't lol at that? It was Carl.
Yeah, very much so.
Had the zebra pattern on though. Carl might have seen him and given him a bit of room.
Zebra crossing.
No, that's Austin's proper livery is the flying zebra.
Ah, I see. Okay.
Yes.
I should be in on these inside jokes. I'm sorry, Austin. I thought that was for position. Then that's just Andrew Marston in the pink pig livery, just getting out of the way. Up towards
apparently
130.
we've got an absolutely titanic battle for 16th place between Ryan Penny And Jamie Ward, look at this. This is a battle of wills here. We've got Ryan Penny in the Jägermeister car bombing off ahead. And, well, Jamie Ward's trying to force the non-alcoholic option, shall we say. I don't know, would Jägermeister and Coca-Cola mix together? I don't know. One way to find out, I suppose.
You could call this battle a mixer, I suppose. It's a bit of a mixer, isn't it, with these paired together. Oh, that Astro on 130R. We've all been off there. You're lying if you said you haven't. Now, Mark Baxter-Jones is going to be watching his mirrors thinking, what is going on here? We've got Gary Tall looking at the very tall rear wing of Chris Bowie's car. Great looking car from behind these Porsches. Absolutely love them. And they sound good.
Got a new one coming out.
Yeah, they've got the
992.
They've got the rear light that goes all the way across as well, like the old, was it the 939? They used to do that on as well. Was that one of the examples?
Mainly most of the Carrera 4S, they usually have the light goes all the way across, yeah.
Certainly does look amazing. It's going to look fantastic if they do a GTE version of it, similar to the RSR that we have now. You can just picture how sleek that rear end is, because the bodywork finishes quite high up on that car. It's all in front. That was Chris Bowie, was it not? No, it's not. Apologies. That's Danny Jones.
It was Danny Jones. Oh.
Again.
Dearie me. Still, though, there's nothing gets that Haribo bear down. He's like, don't worry, Danny, I'll lift you back up. It's like, chin up. That's what he's doing. He's literally helping Danny Jones keep his chin up.
He is, yeah. Just a bit of a sugar rush as well.
It's
after
like the Michelin Man as well. You know, the Michelin Man's always happy too. Probably just keeps looking at the share price.
Well, I wouldn't look in the mirror. I mean, that's how I feel at the minute after lockdown. Now, Julien Noisy is trying to hold on to his podium spot here ahead of Mark Baxter-Jones. Down towards 130R. And it's always a difficult corner to try and follow through at 130R because when you're that close to the car in front, you can't quite see the apex of the corner. Julien Noisy feels the need to go a little bit defensive there on Mark. He's going to try and line it up for a good exit, though, is the number 8 machine. Looks like he's got just that as well. And, oh, Julien goes a little bit wide out the final corner. Tries to carry the speed around the outside. But Mark, closer to the pit wall, is going to get this done down into turn 1, I think, unless we see some very strong stuff now from Julien Noisy. Oh, that's not so strong from Mark Baxter-Jones. A little bit of a blink in and out there. But up into the podium spots he goes. And Patrick Charlton is making moves a little bit further down. He's right behind Bernie, but look at the state of that car. That looks like it's grown something from November as well, doesn't it?
It does, yeah, absolutely. I wonder if Mark Baxter-Jones just blipping there with the slight break in the internet. I wonder if that was his smart meter kicking in, possibly with the... could have been with the Valiant sponsorship. But what Ryan Parkins, I mean, what can you say about him? You know, he just comes through from 20th on the grid and come in a commanding lead. Really, really impressive. And this is why he has the number 1 on the side of the car. So impressive. And this is so this is where he made his move on Colin Wynn. Just gets a look at the drive out of that. Is just good throttle control. Uses the rear engine layout of the Porsche. And oh, Chris Bowie rejoining there. There's a few very second-hand looking cars here. I think they should book their cars in for repair at Porsche Centre Chester, I think.
They should indeed. Carl Hazelton's got a very clean car, obviously, you know, keeping it showroom spec while still putting the pace in. He is down in 26th place, unfortunately, after having a bit of an off before, by the look of it.
Misfire in the engine, I think.
Yeah, maybe. It wasn't serviced by them. It was serviced by some bloke called Keith that thought he knew what he was doing. But this is still a nice little battle, this for Julien Noisy. He's had a rough season. He's very new to this car, and he's been struggling with it a little bit in the earlier rounds, but certainly showing his worth here at the moment. Holding on up in 4th place, because as we keep saying, Peter, the difference is with some of these drivers that you put some of them near the front on the reverse grid, some of them can stay there, some of them can't, and Julian's showing us now that given the right track, he can do.
Absolutely, he's doing a super job, yeah, because normally you do see, well, those, like you say, there's some who can and some who can't from the front of the reverse grid, and it just shows you that the racecraft's been there, the pace is there, and sometimes it can just be a mental thing. It could, oh, get on there, Julien. Woo. Tell you what, he says, Gary Tall, you can wait your turn, pal. Just shuts the door. Brilliant stuff from Julien Noisy in the 88 car. lovely, lovely stuff. And just a couple of minutes to go. Let's see if he can hang on to this 4th spot. But Carl Sharkey is really coming on the scene quick there as well. You can see him just in the back shot there in the number 77 car. But we've got our first bit of breaking news on the Porsche Club of Great Britain broadcast. Austin Greatorex, absent this season, he has just announced he will be back for season 3.
Yeah, good stuff. Looking forward to seeing
the flying zebra.
I'm looking forward to seeing him coming back. That'll be great, Austin. Certainly will be a lot of fun.
He'll be up the front.
Oh, Mark Bowe. He's had a bit of a nightmare in the Degners. And rejoin. It's a good thing. It's a very reflective car. That some of the others can see just how close they are in their reflection as they come up to the back of him as he rejoins. Oh, Ryan Penny's just had a moment and come back on. Now look at this from Julian, still holding on. 1 lap to go after this, and now Gary Toll is under pressure from Carl Sharkey. So if these two start fighting, Noise could hold on to 4th. There's a big lock up from Gary Toll. Comes back on, and Carl Sharkey's already taken the spot. Now, can he get him back again? Let's look back. Do we dare? Yes. Love seeing all the muck and dirt spattered up these cars as well as they go down towards 130R, side by side. Oh, not quite an overlap. That was scary stuff. Now they're going to have to both back out a bit here because Julien Noise, slightly further in front, can see more of the corner and see exactly where he needs to go. Oh, we have had an issue for Ryan Penny, I'm afraid. He's had a proper moment further back. Let's just have a quick look here. Oh, in the Degners, you've got James Cummings behind him, slams on the brakes. Oh, a very quick rotation there for Ryan Penny. And he does recover eventually. Now, 3 wide, down towards turn 1. Here's Gary Tolley on the brakes. Oh, there's contact, and no, Julien. Sideways, sideways. Does he get it recovered? He does. He's going to go across the grass first. Needs to be careful not to spin up the rears too much. Rejoins on the apex and gets underway, but that was a difficult one to call, that. I think maybe Julien didn't know they were... Did he know they were 3 wide? I think Gary was leaving loads of room for Carl, but I just think 3 wide wasn't going to work in there. He's still in the top 10, though. I
think it was sort of, let's just have a go. Yeah, why not? You're up there, have a go. No harm, no foul. And actually seems to have got away relatively scot-free in terms of damage. That car looks fine. So, yeah, like you say, still in the top 10. So, tell you what, whatever the result, Julien Noise has proven his metal big time in this race. Suzuka, the hardest track. Oh, it's Mark Bowes in the barrier in the background. Oh no.
No Bowe.
Oh, he's bowed the chassis again.
Is it just the curb and the Astro?
Same place.
It was already gone, sort of mid-apex, wasn't it? Oh.
If I had £1, or if I had £1 for every time I'd done that, oh my. It's because you've got to try and straighten the wheel up, but then get it turning, and it's not easy. But here he comes, the King Hippo.
Yep. If we had £1 for every time this guy won a race, wouldn't have that many yen, but we'd certainly have a lot. Ryan Parkins takes round 14 of the championship. Beautiful drive once again from 20th on the grid. Amazing stuff. 8 seconds back though. Colin Wynn, take a bow, sunshine. 2nd place. Brilliant performance. Mark Baxter-Jones, what a night he's had. Beautiful stuff for his championship. We've got Gary Toll flying down the order. He's had an issue at 130R here. Oh, feisty stuff with Caravan Carl. Side by side. And is the gravel going to catch him out? Oh, look at the sudden grip, and biff. Now, what do you make of that one then, Peter? Let's go all the way back.
Let's get another look at it, shall we say. Big lock up there from...
Oof.
Oh, the first one there.
I think Gary turned in a little bit, expecting Carl to not have an overlap by that point.
Yeah. Amateur steward now, Chaz. Come on, Charles. So, let's see. Carl, well, he definitely knows he's there. Carl's got the... Our viewers can't see this, but I am scratching my sideburns right now going,
Yeah, that's a tough one to call. I wouldn't like to be one of the stewards on that. That was...
Well, given that Carl is the Max Mosley to Mark Phillips' Bernie, he'll probably be fine.
Oh, hello. Something going on there.
Oh, a good-looking car there, that Porsche Chester number 24 machine.
Oh, yeah. Best-looking car in the grid.
Oh, Austin Greatorex has got his own back, he says. Did Carl punch someone off? Question mark.
Wow.
Spicy.
Feisty. Well, Colin Wynne.
Season 3.
Yeah, bring it on. Colin Wynne, brilliant drive in that race. Ryan Parkins, of course, taking the win. 24 places gained, by the way, for Mark Baxter-Jones, Carl Sharkey and Gavin Halls. What a performance by those boys. Mark Phillips got 7th, but Colin Wynne, after, well, we saw a lot of that camera angle on Colin Wynne in race 1 with a couple of spins, but he's going to be very pleased with that. There's Mark Phillips off in the gravel. We're just waiting for a couple of cars to finish their laps. Andrew Soper just coming round. And are we still waiting for... Yes, Ryan Penny is going to be the final car to trigger the timing beam in the Jägermeister machine. Certainly looks good on that car. The gold wheels do it for me. Gold wheels on a race car. Absolute winner. Absolute winner.
Satin Aurum, as they're called in the Porsche catalogue.
I'll have to remember that one for when we go and speak to Carl.
Absolutely.
And, I've just had a message off Mark Phillips who said he's got a BWT water filter for his coffee machine. There you go. He's obviously been listening. He thought, I'll show these boys. Before we do some interviews, Peter, how about some results?
Let's have a look then. Ryan Parkins, well, what a drive from the champion-elect. Just under 9 seconds of an advantage from the highly impressive Colin Wynne. What a drive from the man in the number 4 car. Mark Baxter-Jones continues his properly consistent pace. Another podium in 3rd. Carl Sharkey 4th with a, shall we say, controversial contact with Gary Tall. Gavin Halls finished 5th despite a spin. Mark Johnson was 6th. Mark Phillips finished 7th, recovering from a couple of earlier incidents. Patrick Charlton was 8th, followed by Chris Bowie, and Julian Noisy gets into the top 10 despite that little mishap at turn 1, but a brilliant drive as well. Gary Tall finished in 11th with Stuart Clark, Danny Jones, Gilles Gardner, Mark Bowe, Amrik Sajdev, Johnny Ilya and James Cummings, rounding out the top 18. 19th was Byron Crawford, followed by Oliver Carberdine, Mark Stell, Paul Riga, Jamie Ward, Andrew Soper, Ryan Penny, the ever-impressive Carl Hazelton from Porsche Centre Chester, Stephen Kershaw and Andrew Marston in the Pink Pig, and finally Angus Archer in 29th.
Thank you very much, mate. Well, another wonderful race under our belts, another wonderful race meeting under our belts in the Porsche Club of Great Britain Sim Racing Championship, and one person that I was really hoping that we could speak to tonight after that one was the man who joins us in the commentary box right now, Mark Baxter-Jones, in here with us. I'll turn the music down because it's ridiculously loud at the moment. Mark, that looked like a lot of hard work in that second race, but I think 2 podiums tonight. You should be very pleased with that.
Yeah, I'm really pleased with that, I have to say. First of all, I don't know if it was my fault, but apologies to Steve if that was my fault going into 130R. But yeah, really pleased with the result.
Yeah, it's not an easy circuit to get right. Obviously, it's been the main talking point for Peter and I this evening. And we keep saying about how slippery the Japanese circuits are, and these cars just sort of float around anyway. Did you find that the late setup change made it even more difficult?
Yeah, it was really tough for me. I mean, I've been practicing since the last round and slowly building the times and getting the confidence in the car, because as you say, this circuit's slippery as anything. And then, yeah, late setup change, or not the setup change, but the updates from iRacing, and then suddenly everyone's, I don't know, a good second and a half off the pace that they were doing in practice races. So yeah, it was tough to get a handle on, but then it was the same for everybody. So, but yeah.
Yeah, well, it's certainly helped your championship fight, obviously. You're going to be right up there now after that one. Another stellar performance from some of the drivers around you, but with a bit of absence from some of the top runners. Are you eyeing up a really strong finish at Alton Park in 2 weeks?
I'd like to say so. Alton's probably my nemesis. I didn't have a great race there last season. Mostly my own fault. So yeah, hopefully I can just stick it on the tarmac and keep it there and just get a decent result. But you know, I don't know where I am at the moment, but as in 10th coming into this, if I'm around there at the end of the season, I'll be happy. So yeah, no, it's been a good evening.
It certainly has, mate, and one of the best looking cars on the grid as well, may I say. Looks absolutely wonderful.
Thank you.
But anyone you want to give a quick shout out to before you go, Mark?
Well, just everyone in the club, to be honest. Obviously, you guys, Mark, for organising Bernie, and then Matt and Gavin, not only for the track walks and all the advice that they give, but all the support that they give outside of the racing. These guys are second to none, really. And well, it goes for everyone in the club. They've really helped through lockdown personally. It's been a tough old 9 months or so. So just shout out to all the guys involved, because it's been a great distraction, that must be said.
Yeah, and for us as well, mate, it certainly has proved to be a vital part of people's lockdown. It's nice to hear that as well from one of the drivers indeed, and obviously we do hope everything is all okay, and hopefully we'll see you have another similar result in 2 weeks' time at Alton.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Many thanks.
Cheers, mate. Fantastic performance by Mark tonight, and we are just waiting on confirmation of whether Mr. Parkins is champion, so we will keep him in there for a bit. I do want to speak to the man who finished the feature race, you could say, the second race, in second place after leading for quite a while. Colin Wynn joins us in the box. Colin, you must be over the moon with that performance, mate. That was a great drive.
Yay! Champiano! Roll on season 3.
Well,
how you doing, guys?
Very, very good, thank you. That's we're very pleased for you in that one. I mean, you led it for so long, and you got rid of the spoon curve curse, or the spoon curse as I was calling it, after the first race.
Nightmare. Oh, I could see Ryan catching me, and I just thought there's no point fighting, so I messaged him and said after the hairpin come past, and then I just thought I'd just try and hold my position.
Well, it paid off. Plenty of championship points, a good bit of bragging rights on a very difficult circuit. I mean, on that note,
major bragging rights. Wait till I get back in the Porsche channel in a minute.
How did you find the car around that track?
Actually, it's not too bad. It was a bit slippy, as you probably saw in race 1, because I went off 3 times, but through no fault but my own. Just putting the pedal down far too fast.
Yeah, it's down to a lot of this circuit it's very undulating, isn't it? There's a lot of on camber, off camber, uphill, downhill, and horrible curbs. It's a very tricky one to get right.
It's a nightmare.
It certainly is. And well, I mean, the car itself is it's no show pony when it comes to being easy to drive. What have you found is the hardest bit to get used to in learning this car?
Well, the whole thing is new to me. I only started in September, so the whole, iRacing, the Porsche itself, the whole thing is new. And then, deciding to get rid of the old PlayStation Thrustmaster setup and speaking to Mr. Dorrington himself, Midas, and literally going full hog and saying, right, let's have a proper rig. So the whole thing's been an absolute joy to do, absolute pleasure. And the guys in the group are just superb, absolutely superb, top marks to everyone.
Well, it's nice to hear that you're enjoying sim racing so much as well, because I know a number of people, obviously it was a fantastic thing to get into over lockdown for a lot of people, but I know a lot of people have just sort of seen it as a phase, but people like yourself, I imagine, are convinced that it's a hobby for life now, do you reckon?
Oh, absolutely. I don't think there's a day go by that I don't sit in this rig for half an hour. It's just fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. I'm not quite sure what the neighbours think when they look through the windows and see a racetrack, staring out one of the windows. But yeah.
Well, that's for you to enjoy and for them to wonder what the hell.
Absolutely.
Well done tonight, Colin. Very good to see you get that second place. Do you want to give anybody a shout out before you go?
Just all the guys in the Porsche club. They're absolutely brilliant. Had a lot of help from everyone in there. Just a friendly bunch. And you two. I'm looking forward to just going back and watch it on the TV in a minute.
Fantastic. Great stuff again, Colin. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Well. Appreciate it.
We'll see you at Alton.
Definitely. Thank you.
Cheers, mate. And news just in, Peter, from Mark Phillips himself.
Yes, we can confirm. I've said during the broadcast champion-elect, as I was quietly confident, but we can confirm Ryan Parkins is now a double Porsche Club of Great Britain sim racing champion. And why don't we get him in to see what he thinks of that?
Here he is, the King Hippo, double Hippo now, so he barely fits in the commentary box. But Ryan, you've done it again, mate. Well done.
I can't really hear, mate. I'm still trying to get into the room.
Don't bang your head on.
Hippos don't have great hearing.
Yeah, that's very
No,
true.
it little is. So if I won it, I haven't seen any stats yet. I don't know.
Yeah. Confirmed champion. Oh. Ryan. Again.
Wow.
Well done.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Yeah, it was a good race, wasn't it? What do you think?
Yeah, we enjoyed that one. I mean, again, it was one of your sort of signature drives up through the field. Just keep it nice and tidy. You nearly got caught up in the incident on lap 1, though, didn't you?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Race 1, lap 1. I didn't even start. I just somehow got pushed to the pits. I don't know what happened. That was really annoying. But yeah, it was great racing from the back. Actually, everyone's so clean on the race 1 at the back. It's really good, and people weren't giving up place or the room. It was really good fun actually. And then second race, it's a bit tight. I think it was 3 wide going into 1 and out of 2, and then it's great. I love this series.
It's great to hear because we love doing it as well, mate. We love broadcasting it, and we do, even from up here in the commentary box, we still feel the enjoyment that drivers get out of it. We're just talking to Colin Wynn there, who, he was saying that he'd let you sort of just go by because he thought there's no point in fighting it. He's going to get a lot of championship points. He doesn't want to sort of hinder you. He doesn't want to hinder himself. But he's been enjoying sim racing, and he's only done it since September. He's loving it, and it has been a massive escape for people, hasn't it, over the whole lockdown and coronavirus pandemic.
Well, if he's only started in September, he's doing bloody well. He's doing really good. Because if I had a good start in race 1, he would have probably won that second race. Because I started a bit further up the grid than right at the back for that second one. But yeah, the sim racing is a fantastic release. You get into a different world. Especially, I think, for me, I feel, because I get to put the VR headset on, it's just, you're in the car, you're in this little thing, even though I am sitting in my living room. But I'm just like blinkers on effectively. Real world not distracting. I can just go out and just do my thing, and it's I've been in sim racing for a while now, for a few years, and these are the best bunch of people I've ever met, and I love all of them. They're all such lovely people. And I've now got to go and message everyone individually, just saying thank you and the kindness they've given me to let me pass on multiple races. But everyone's so lovely, and I wish I could thank them all more. Just really looking forward to when we get out of this pandemic and we can actually go for a nice beer and chat and discuss and get some fisticuffs going for time.
You're all coming up to Knockhill and then at Edinburgh weekend. Have you not heard?
Yeah, well, I thought I was going to enter the PCGB next year for real. All my championship winnings, and then I'm going to take part.
We could use
drive.
Use this as like a feeder series.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah, there you are.
Andy.
That is a good idea.
I'm gonna have to.
She will be.
I'm gonna write some contracts. But no, honestly, Ryan, amazing stuff once again, mate. We do obviously big you up every week, and people are thinking, oh, flipping heck, you've got something on your nose, mate. But honestly, it's well deserved because you don't just race well, you help a lot of these drivers out as well. And from my opinion, you're a very deserving champion. So well done from us, everyone at Simracersworld TV as well. Before you go, other than the humongous list of people that you've probably already thanked, do you want to give anybody else a quick shout out?
Yes, I just want to say thank you to the league, you guys, PCGB, put this on and keep it going for a second series. I hope we do a third one. You guys keep the broadcast alive, you keep the stories going, and also competitors as well. You can only be a good champion if you have good competitors around you, especially from having Matt and Gavin by. It's a shame Matt couldn't make it today because he was ill, but yeah. You've got to have good competitors to actually make it a good story, haven't you? Around you. So thank you to everyone who's watching and supporting. All the people on my new production I'm working at the moment who are watching, I keep talking about it. Thank you very much.
Nicely said, Ryan. Well done again. Double King Hippo, and we will see you at Alton Park in 2 weeks.
Ciao.
Fantastic stuff. Very deserving champion, Ryan Parkins there, and we sort of expected that he'd be up there with having a shout of it anyway, but to be honest, I mean, he's on 253 points to Matt Dorrington's 181. Yes, you can argue Matt Dorrington not here this evening, but 4 race wins apiece at the moment. And Gavin Hall surprises me as well. He was 12th going into tonight, but he's now up to 8th place. He's got 3 wins. 4 of the drivers ahead of him in the championship haven't won a race this season.
Yes, there's, and of course, Ryan had, for the life of me, I cannot remember which track it was, but Ryan, was it Road Atlanta, where Ryan Parkins had a number of issues with, you had to come off the rig and go and sort out a real world issue with a broken down car somewhere. If I can't give him something bizarre like that. And he lost a lot of points there as well. And so he certainly had to contend with a lot. But I think, as always, it's been the race 2 performances where he's come through the field, avoided the trouble, and just done a super job. And but like we say, if you let Gavin Halls get out at the front, he's gone. Yeah,
definitely. It's been fantastic. And again, very deserving champion indeed. So Ryan Parkins wins the Porsche Club GB Sim Racing Championship's 2nd season. But we're not done yet. In a week's time, we won't have a broadcast, because in 2 weeks' time we'll be at Alton Park for the final race meeting of Season 2. And we'll be waiting to see whether Carl Hazelton can take a race win there and eventually book us in for that test drive. But Peter, any highlights from you this evening? Any final words before we go?
I think it was Carl Hazelton's lap record. I think that was really the most impressive thing of the night. No, we do joke. No, I think it has to be our new champion, Ryan Parkins. I say our new double champion, Ryan Parkins. Like you say, he's been so consistent, so steady throughout the championship, and the cleanest driver on the grid as well. And I think that's been his secret, particularly in race 2. And that's been a great job. And I have to say, Colin Wynn, I did not realise that he'd only started iRacing in September of this year. Now, as we know, Chaz, that it's a really tough simulator to get your head around.
Yeah.
And to do that and be up to this level already, as Ryan said, is really impressive. So big props to Colin Wynn too.
Yeah, I'd say Colin's my driver of the night, if not Mark Baxter-Jones, for some very solid performances tonight. Colin had his issues in race 1, you can say, but he came back from that in one of the strongest ways possible. Only to be beaten in race 2 by Ryan Parkins is awesome stuff. But as said, everybody, we will see you in 2 weeks' time at Alton Park for the final 2 rounds of the season. Thanks very much, as always, Peter. I've been Chaz Draycott, and we will see you on Simracersworld TV in 2 weeks' time. Have a good night.